G'day guys, welcome to the Melbourne Stars podcast called With the Stars, funny enough. A podcast that's going to provide a lot of information, hopefully a little bit of entertainment. Alongside me at the moment, who's going to co-host, he's the media manager. He is an all-round nice guy, and I've just found out that his nickname is Rowdy. Benny Gibson, welcome.
Thanks, Bobby. I'm really just here to hit the dump button when needed, try to keep us from getting cancelled.
That'll happen quite a lot, I reckon.
Yeah, here to steer the ship when needed, but I'm pretty comfortable with your safe hands.
Oh, you shouldn't be. Look, we're going to kick things off the very first episode, and we're super pumped to have this guy with us, a former player, legend, a former coach, and someone who has played a lot of international cricket. I'll talk about someone who's played 48 matches for the Melbourne Stars, 4 seasons as coach. He made the final in the first season. Welcome to With the Stars, Hustler.
Thank you, Bob. Thanks, Rowdy. Yeah, looking forward to today. Reminiscing. Yeah, as a coach, I took them from second to all the way down the bottom. So looking forward to reminiscing on them.
Slippery pole, it certainly was. But now let's really go back to the start, because when the Big Bash came with the franchise element to it, there was the Melbourne Stars and the Melbourne Renegades. And we know internally that Greg Shippard's ideal scenario was for most people in Victorian to become the Melbourne Stars. So how did it come about that you chose the Stars?
Yeah, it's probably a good story. That good friend Cam White, he was pretty much always going to be the Stars, and I guess I really enjoyed playing at the MCG in front of the bigger crowds, I guess. But I had actually sat down with Jeff Miles, the old CEO of the Melbourne Renegades, in the wintertime, and I was actually leaning towards them at one stage, and then the power of Greg Shippard gets on the phone and said, "Hustler, you're not going anywhere. You're signing for the Stars," and he's a pretty formidable person, and you don't want to go against him. So Melbourne Stars it was.
So I actually spoke to a couple of people surrounding this question and you, and both of them had suggested that it was the financial element to it as to why you picked the Melbourne Stars.
That's completely false. If I hadn't known what everybody else was on at the time, I would have definitely gone to the Renegades. Put it that way. I was a bit annoyed, but let's just say most people were paid a lot more than me at the Melbourne Stars. Well, but I was okay because I was playing in the IPL and I was playing for Australia at the time.
It's funny you say that, because I look at the list and Benny, back then, you know, I think the Sixers had a really good contingent of New South Wales players, and exactly what Shippy wanted was with Victorian players. And there was a little bit of like, I think it was Finchy, Andrew McDonald, Dirk Nanez, Hodge,
Maxwell.
I think Maxwell,
Yep.
who also were quite close within the Victorian group as well. So it was just a natural progression to sort of go, no, let's just go form our own band somewhere else. And I'd love to know who got the most money out of that group, because Finchy would have ended up with the most, but I dare say someone like Hodge would have at the start.
Without throwing anyone under the bus, I'm going to tip Hodge. He liked his money more than all of those three together.
Let's not forget you were at the Stars, Bobby. Where do you rank on that list?
The payment. So I got overpaid to play and underpaid for my ASA, which is all the media,
you were the face of
the videos. And look, we're what are we, 4 weeks away from Christmas right now, and we're probably 2 weeks away from the Mariah Carey video I did with the Stars coming out again. So, and if it doesn't come out via the Stars platform, generally I'll get it sent to me by friends. Really,
you're getting a royalty out of this video, because on YouTube it's probably the most viewed video going around.
It is. That and the seagull for me
Yes.
are probably some royalties that I am missing out on. So maybe I can make it up with this. We might have to talk some financial terms here, Benny.
We'll see how well the first step goes.
Well, let's go back to the start, Huss. What are your first memories of, you touched on you love playing in front of big crowds at the MCG, but what are your first memories of, I guess, representing Team Green, but also, you know, other sort of people you played against and playing against them in that first year or two?
I don't really remember too much. All I remember is we had a really star-studded board, and they wanted the best. So they wanted the Melbourne Stars to be the biggest and best club going around. They wanted to provide entertainment on the field, but also be the biggest team going around. So wherever we travelled, you had to be the biggest and best and represented the Melbourne Stars. So
stayed in some good hotels too.
Didn't we just? We were very well looked after. Mr. President Maguire, he was exceptional. John Wiley, Clint Cooper was the CEO. So we had Cheryl McMahon, she was on the board as well. Mal Smith, so Damien Fleming as well. So yeah, it was.
You peel them off. Jeez, I'm going to ask you about a team later on, but I'll tell you what, you just peeled off the board. Like, how do you do that?
Well, I used to present to the board, Rob, and if we didn't make the finals, it's generally my fault. So No, we were very well supported. We had, biggest and best, and we wanted the best, and we wanted to host the grand final of the MCG. And unfortunately, I think we only qualified for 2 finals in that period, but geez, we had some good fun.
Now, you early doors, we had a bit of fun. I think the T20 when it was around, Benny, it wasn't just hit and giggle. Once the franchises come around, it was a little bit more than that, but it was still a fair bit of fun. And you catch up with teammates before. I remember you're good mates with Brendan McCullum as well. Who was he at the Heat at that stage?
He was at the Heat, yeah. He flew in on let's just say it's a Friday night, and we're playing on the Saturday night at the Gabba. And I sent him a message saying, mate, we've just got up here, just finished training. We're staying at the same hotel. Do you want to just walk up the road, catch up? Quite glass of beer and prepare for the game sort of thing. And we're not playing until 7 o'clock the next night, so you can have a full night's sleep. And we're chatting away over
a skinful.
Yeah, no, we're chatting away over a drink, and Baz is sort of saying, "Oh, this person's going to get you out. He's going to knock your block off. We're going to bowl bounces at you and stuff like that. Bring it on, sort of thing." The brash talk comes out, and then I said, "Mate, I reckon when you come out to bat, I think you're going to run down the pitch, and I think you're going to sky one to third man. We're going to catch it, and you're going to get under 10. No, that's never going to happen, mate. And he kept calling me champ and bro and what Kiwis do. And I said, mate, it's going to happen, and I reckon you're going to get caught third man. Bottle of Grange on it. And he goes, yep, you're on. It's like, beauty. Happy birthday. Sure enough, fast forward to the next night. He was on about 4 or 5. He ran down the pitch, skied one to third man. Jade Dernbach is underneath it. If you actually see the highlight, I am running from mid-off like cheering.
Celebrating already.
Got my bottle of Grange. I've already opened it. It's happy birthday. Sure enough, Jade drops it. It's like, oh, no, this is not good. So I'm devastated, basically. They cost me a bottle of Grange. Jade, brilliant. Never forgive you.
And Baz would have rubbed it in post-game as well.
Well, when he actually got a single, he actually started laughing at me because I was actually on all hands and knees, like punching the ground. So he's just laughing at me. But
well, it's a nice little segue that he would have known how you are with money as well. Yeah. And I'm going to say were, because I think you're quite generous ever since you finished playing, ironically, which doesn't make sense to me. But do you think that tag of being slightly tight-ass was a little bit hard delivered to you?
Hard delivered. Yes. I'm very generous to my friends, Rob. However, I don't have many friends. So I think it was because it all stemmed from, or it evolved from, not having too many hobbies. So I didn't really play golf. I like reading the newspaper at a coffee shop, and other people like the horses and punting, and I'm not really into that. A bit frugal with my money. So I'm not a foodie either. So yeah, not many hobbies. So that's probably where that stemmed from. But I played a lot of cricket with Baz at the IPL and hung around him a lot. And let's just say he's far more generous than me, put it that way. He's a hell of a guy.
Who were some of the teammates throughout the early years that you probably connected in well with? Obviously, the Victorian ones, probably easier, but we did have a couple that came through. I think George Bailey, Adam Voges come through, Jackson Bird, James Faulkner, like any of those that sort of spring to mind you had a nice connection with?
Yeah, the 2 Tasmanians, Jackson Bird's from New South Wales, but he's played for Tasmania. I really enjoyed his company. He was a very funny man, merciless. He didn't let up on people. If they're having a tough one, he would nail them. And then times that by 1,000 or on steroids, James Faulkner, if you did something wrong, he just nailed you. He was very, very good fun. They played the game very hard on the field. They enjoyed it off the field, and they were very good company. But it was also Adam Voges was the other one I really enjoyed hanging around with. You got to see a different environment, what he came from WA, what he's experienced, and we sort of grew up together in Perth, so I sort of know Vogesy reasonably well, and it's just good to sort of evolve what we believe here in Victoria compared to what WA believe, what Tassie believe, and the environment was for the better.
You mentioned local players there, albeit interstate/overseas, as you used to call the Tasmanian players. Speaking of the overseas players, like who were some that, again, you connected in well, you thought, and again, you've been privy to meet and play cricket with and against so many international legends, but you people like Malinga and KP who come in, like, how did you find them within the group?
Luke Wright just hit the ground running, didn't he? The dressing room was ideal for him. Mm-hmm. He's a bloke's bloke, fits into any dressing room. He's a chameleon, so he can speak to the captain of the team or the last player signed in the group. So he's just a ripper. You want him for any dressing room. He makes the room better. Lassith, I really enjoyed his company. I remember a game in Brisbane he was playing, and I think it was his first or second game, and I knocked on his door about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and he answered the door just with a towel on, and he was eating a pot noodle at the time, preparing for his
That's right.
big game. I said, "Oh, you switched on tonight, mate?" He goes, "Yes, I got this." And then ate his pot noodle and pretty much ushered me out the door. And he bowled 4 overs for about 10. And he was an amazing human being to hang around with.
I want to know whether you face him in the nets because I reckon I faced him one game, a pre-game, and he was coming in at half a run. And I'm like, well, I need fast shaft movements. And I don't need to take big steps and just use his pace. And sure enough, he beat me with his slow ball 3 times, and he'd nail his Yorker every single time. And each time I'd pick up the ball, and he'd have this massive grin. He'd go like this. I go, bold, mate. And he goes like that. And you go, gee, this guy is a freak. What did he get that game against the Scorchers?
Oh, 6 for 7 or something. Do you remember we lost the first game and we had to go to Perth and everyone's nervous. We're going to be 0-2. We never win in Perth. It's going to be a nightmare. And then I remember speaking to, we had training the day before, and Warnie's like, "Oh, what do we do? Should we open with spin?" You know, all these different theories. And Lassie was just smiling away, showing us his fangs. And yeah, we turn up to the game and 6 for 7. And I remember you took a catch at Gully right in the middle of the lights. And you couldn't see the easiest catch going.
Yeah. I bombed myself.
I think that was to break a record, wasn't it? Wasn't it the best bowling figures ever in T20 cricket? And
Has it been beaten since?
Unsure. But do you remember you and Luke Wright went out to bat that day?
That was a rain-affected one. Yeah, I think I had to face Hilton Cartwright for 1 over.
Yeah.
And I think Warnie was dealing with the umpires. I think Perth wanted to go out there. There was just so much conjecture. It was just like, I think because the fans had stayed, I remember going out there facing an over. I think I played a miss 3 times and then got off.
And I reckon Coulter-Nile bowled either the second over before we came off, and then Warnie, through his magic, got us back on the ground when the ground was underwater.
To make sure we
get a result in. We're already miles ahead of the Duckworth Lewis at the 5 over mark, so we're always going to win. We just had to get back out there and play. And Coulter-Nile's warming up to bowl, and I said, "Coulter, what are you doing?" He said, I'm bowling, mate." He said, "You've already bowled you over, mate." He goes, "No, I've got another one." I said, "No, you haven't, mate.
Not
5 overs, we're done, mate." And then after that, I was in a bit of a mood because a jovial character mood. And I think we're only chasing 50, maybe 55.
Yeah.
I think Clint Mackay went for 30 off 2 overs. So after that instance with Colts, I thought, right, I'm going to have Clint now. So when the Clint started nailing him about going for none for 30 off 2, we'd have been off the ground.
That's what you do, though, isn't it? Like it's called building resilience, and you hope that people get through that sort of stuff. But
he's a ripper, though, Clint.
Can I speak to you about rivalries?
Yep.
And we'll touch on the Renegades a little bit later. But one of the ones that I think it's going to be pretty common throughout this, Benny, through the mail process and the past players, is the rivalry with the Perth Scorchers. Like, I'm not sure. I know you've come from a footy background, but do you remember us always going to Perth in the finals and losing?
Yeah, the final. I remember Alex Keith bowled an over that went for about 27 in one of those finals, and it was just some remarkable scenes.
I think Keithy wishes that he didn't remember that.
Yeah, could be a good future podcast guest.
Yes,
Alex
well, we
Keith.
might have to get Keithy on.
So I actually remember that game. I was sitting in a hotel room with Matt Wade, Clint Mackay, and we're in Brisbane waiting for us. I think Cam White and Hodge put on maybe 200 or 180, and it was just unbelievable batting. And I thought, happy birthday, we're going to make the final here. Blow our hoodoo over in Perth. It's going to be awesome. We're going to actually win the final. We're going to celebrate. It's going to be... Never get too far ahead of ourselves, you know. We already won the game after the first... I think it was a rain-affected 18-over game. And then, watching the games, all cool and calm and collected. And then all of a sudden, you see the ball tossed to Alex Keith. And Matt Wade goes, "What the is going on here?" And then,
Yeah, I don't think he bowled all tournament.
no, I don't think he had either. And then a couple of sixes, then another 6, and then
Sean
was
Marsh.
it? Yeah, Sean Marsh, what a player. And then I just see my hotel remote just get thrown into the wall. I won't name who it was, but initials are CM, and my remote's destroyed, so I had to pay for the hotel remote because of Clint Mackay. So, yeah, nightmare, and we end up losing.
Poor old Warnie, probably, I think he said at the time that the ball was a little bit too wet for him to grip. He had one more over left.
Right.
But I think anyone who was bowling to Sean Marsh that night was going to go the distance. He batted beautifully.
What a player. Yep.
The other one is the Renegades rivalry. And I think early doors there was that like forced nature of, you've got to hate each other and you've got to do this. And, and it probably helped when you had like the group that I spoke about before and then, the rest of us here and was like, and we'd get back into Vic camp after Big Bash and, there'd be more banter. I mean, you heard how ruthless Hussey's when someone goes for 30 off 2 overs. But it eventually, even before the Marlon Samuels incident, I reckon it became a little bit stronger. Would you agree?
Yeah, I reckon at the start it was probably maybe a bit of a false rivalry. I really enjoyed watching the Renegades play. They played a good brand of cricket. Most of them were my friends as well, so I sort of really enjoyed watching Hodge and Finch bat. They were exceptional players, and I reckon the first ever derby game or derby game was at Marvel, and I think Finch got 100 off about 14 overs and hit Warney wherever he wanted to. And we batted first that night. I'm not sure if you played, Rob. Did you play?
I was in and out. I don't remember playing against the Renegades too much. I reckon played against James Pattinson once. No, I reckon I missed a few of those games.
So this game here was on a used slowish pitch, and we scrambled a 160, and I think I was about 40 or 50 not out at the end of the innings, and I screamed off the field, get ready for fielding. I said to the coach, Shippy and Damien Wright was the assistant. I said, mate, we've got more than enough runs here. Like, we've easily got them covered. Pitches low, slow, used. Just got to keep changing the pace as much as we can. Clint, make sure you bowl your slow balls. Blah blah blah. So we're all sorted. And Finch got the runs in the 14th over, and Shippy blamed me for losing the game. So it was bittersweet night.
You were man of the match in one of the early games against the Gades. The bowling lineup: Tate, Nannis, Harwood, Afridi, McDonald, some really big names. What was it like facing some of those quicks?
I reckon with 2 out with Haas, there would have been third man and deep backward point when Tatey and Dirk were batting, I reckon.
When they say there's 2 men behind square, that they mean that on the offside, because I'm actually behind square myself. So
That's a fact.
I reckon I hit a few sixes over third man that game because they were bowling thunderbolts. But I think the most enjoyment I had was actually seeing the keeper run left and right behind when I was ducking the ball from Sean Tate, because I think it was Graham Manu actually.
It might have been.
And he was running left and right so far, and buys were going everywhere. They were miles behind the run rate, and we ended up, I think we got maybe about 160, 170, maybe.
So Tatey, this is for yours and obviously everyone at home who hasn't been privy to seeing Sean Tate bowl. He's load up quite similar to Jeff. Like, it comes from behind him, so you actually don't get that sider in the queue coming in. And then his first 3 balls with a new ball will swing away from the right hander. And the reason why Haas and other right handers probably give themselves room, because accidentally the next 3 balls start tailing in at 145 and north, and that's something that a lot of the boys didn't really want to get in behind, did they? Fair enough.
No, but also I don't think he realised which of the shiny side to put on to make the ball swing correctly. So Tatey's a good friend, so you can actually sort of take the mickey out of him a bit. But he was a hell of a fast bowler, wasn't he? Yeah.
But people would joke in a Shield game that they wear like 2 jumpers. They didn't want to wear like a chest guard or anything, like 2 jumpers, and that was the Sloon guard?
The Sloon guard,
The Sloon guard in a Shield game. You get through Tatey's first 3, maybe 4 overs in a Shield game of his spell, and you're okay after that because he tires. But those first 3 overs,
and in T20 cricket, I mean, he's only got 4 overs, but also you're trying to score. So what's the balance between survival and actually trying to score off him?
Well, you got to score, don't you? But the key is to hit the ball to the deep fielders and run really hard and then pretend to slip when the non-strikers in. Sorry, slipped over. You're going to take the medicine here.
And also to read the play when you're facing, generally good batters will get a run off the last ball over Benny to get down and face the next ball. But if they're watching around, they see the captain and Tatey's warming up to bowl the next over, you're either going 0 or 4. So that
4-6 or dot ball.
Yeah, that's all.
Correct.
That's all you're doing, and you're like, sorry, mate.
You take him.
So, you spoke about a lot of your playing times, and you've shared some really nice stories with us, and you probably only scratched the surface in terms of our time at the Stars as a player, but you've stepped away from professional cricket. You did a little bit of coaching. You worked with Kookaburra for a little bit.
Yeah, that was good.
Which was short term, which was meant to be Tim Payne's job, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
At one stage. And then you did some coaching you spoke about Brendan McCullum, and I think you were doing assistant coaching there. Is that what sparked the interest to try and come back and put your hat in the ring for the Stars coaching job?
Effectively, yeah. Brendan actually rang. I was in the middle of a meeting at Kookaburra, would you believe? And I sort of excused myself. It was one of those meetings where a lot's going on and you just pray they don't ask you any questions and your head goes down. So, and I said, please excuse me, I've got to take this call, and just thought it was a catch-up call. And I said, mate, I'm taking over at Kolkata. Would you like to come and be my assistant? And I said, I better speak to my wife first, but let's just say, yep, I'm in, And he said, yeah, talk to Christy first and see what she says. And I knew it was already a done deal. Just to spend time with him. He's really good value, and the way he thought about the game, he was definitely ahead of his time. But he wanted to play the game a certain way, and I tried to replicate that with the Stars, and worked early. But then, unfortunately, it didn't work after the 4 years. We sort of mid-table by the end, which was a bit disappointing.
It was funny you mentioned Christie, because one of the notes that I'd put down was what was Christie's actual reaction? Because she's gone through the whole process of moving and living in another state, gone through the process of you playing state and international cricket over a period of like 13 years. You're out of it. You've got a normal job, which was only 4 kilometres from your house.
15 minutes, yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's back out to India and back in the summer going around Australia again. Surely she just went, nah, like not again.
My wife is extremely understanding, and I think she knows that my passion is cricket. So I think when I came home and said, "Oh, this is what the opportunity is," and she could see the glint in my eye, so that something that I wanted to do. And I don't think she realised the 15 weeks away from home at one stretch, at one period of time, playing in India and then around Australia. When you actually start doing the stars, you start full on probably October time, and then all the planning goes into play. You got the recruits already done, and you got, right, how are we going to play? And then October, November, so you barely spend any time at home. Then you're on the road after that. And the time you keep is just awful, because you play until 11 o'clock at night here in Australia. Then you don't get home until 1 o'clock in the morning after talking to all the players and preparing for the next game. Then you start preparing the next game because you're already awake. You're still buzzing. So you get to sleep probably about 3, 4 in the morning, and then all of a sudden the kids are up at 7. So there's no way you're getting a free pass from your lovely wife. So you up there and you help them out at breakfast time.
I'm actually keen to find out how Benny's going to go with this, because he's come initially from, as I said, a footy background where it's pretty cushy. Like they went in the hubs and for 4 weeks at one stage and thought that was tough, where cricketers find it bliss sometimes. But
I tell you what I'm finding tough with the WEVL so far is loading the kit bags on the plane.
You've got to put them all on, do you?
Yeah, I've been helping out Ross.
You're the media manager.
In footy, you just roll in with your carry-on suitcase 15 minutes before the flight, and it's all well and good.
That's just the extra service we do at the Stars.
Exactly right. I wanted to ask, though, in terms of the step from playing to coaching, how'd you go as a watcher with that lack of control over what's actually happening?
No, not great. Very difficult because you can't control basically what's going on. So you do all the plans and all the preparation work with your bowling coach, your batting coach. Fortunately, I had really good batting coaches, and Clint Mackay as a bowling coach. And so we were ahead of the game, I thought, with planning. But when you have all the plans done and then out in the middle, it's just totally different. Like, you end up attacking the batting coach and say, "What the hell's going on here?" sort of thing. And they go, "Oh, I don't know," sort of thing. It's like, "Oh, man." And I guess we like being in control, don't we? Especially when you're actually playing. But when you don't have that sense of control and you just let it unfold, you sort of hope for the best rather than. I like being very structured. So, and when that structure gets taken away, it's not a good place to be.
That astounds me, and I know you prefer to be a structured person, but Benny, I've batted behind him multiple times. And there's no structure to his first 10 balls, whether it be white ball or red ball, pink ball, whatever. We would used to say when he went out to bat, whoever's next in, just put your helmet on,
strap
put
yourselves in, boys,
and start walking out. Or if you're 12th man, and I'm reverting to sort of shield cricket here, but I'm trying to get to, I guess, the core of who Dave Hussey is, and did my best as 12th man, making sure that gloves are out, everything's ready to go. Probably someone who's disorganised. I was the most organised ever as a 12th man. And one game at the Gabba, Huss had just nicked off, and it was literally, I reckon, 5 minutes after I brought his gloves up. Just, you sit on the boundary, no worries. I've got everything good to go. Huss gets out. I ran the other gloves out. I can't remember who's batting with a time and a drink. As you do, you run out and you're like, what's going on? Any messages? Yeah, no, you're going, all right, no worries, run back. And Huss has always been good at, like, he sooks for 2 minutes, doesn't blow up, comes back out, he's all good. But this time he's come back and he's like, why the did you bring my gloves up onto the ground? I'm like, and he goes, no, never bring my gloves up to the ground again. And I'm like, because he'd always given me the time of day. Like, he was the nicest to me early doors. I'm like, where's this come from? But he's just had a bit of weirdness.
Slightly stitious, wasn't I? Slightly superstitious when that came about with the gloves. But yeah, I was trying to be good. Whenever I got out, I tried to pads off, straight up and support your team. That's what you learn. And
he'd always bring 3, like if there was soft drinks, he'd bring 3 bottles of soft drinks up. He'd sit there and go, here. Sorry, boys, that was horrendous. And go like that, and then straight into whatever story he was going to tell or watching the next
What's
game.
happening out there. Yeah, I was trying to be good for the team.
So when you're a player at the Stars, as you said, we were so lucky that we started in some really, really nice places in some nice areas. As a player, you can go out for dinner, whether it's the whole group or large group or whoever. When you're coaching or when you're part of a coaching group, you're pretty limited. So in terms of when you were coaching, I think, did you have Trent with you then as well as Clint Mackay, you had Ben Rohrer?
Yep.
Is there anything else I'm missing in terms of they're your social group as well as your workers, I guess?
Yeah, we had Luke Wright as well, Jared Loffman, which is all very good company.
How good.
Yeah, so you generally have a good night out. Jared Loffman's a foodie, so he always took you to the nice restaurants, and me being tight didn't really want to go. So Clint Mackay enjoys a drink, so I enjoy that side as well. But it's generally you eat dinner whilst you're talking about the game and how we're going to play the next day or the day after, and while you're watching the other games proceed. So it's a lonely life, yet a really good life as well. So you spend a lot of time with each other, but then at the end of the night, you're back in your room, and like I said, your eyes are spinning from the night's game, and you're trying to rehash what's happened, what are the learnings we can take for the next game, and how do we improve, and then try and get some plans in place for the next game. So it's a pretty quick turnaround, but you don't really get much sleep, and it's not great for your health, but it's still good fun.
It would have been awesome. I'm keen to hear about if there's anything to share around Clint Mackay, because he tries to shy away from a lot of media. He's not a big someone who chases conflict, but he's happy to stand up for it. We're going to speak to him at some stage soon within this podcast series
Please
as well.
do.
So keen to hear a little bit more about your views on him throughout coach.
He is one of the all-time great human beings, and if people get to know him and just spend time with him, you'll gravitate towards him. He's got an infectious personality, very, very funny, very witty, but can be scathing at the same time. So good human being and good company. But what I will say, his Stars history as a player was quite checkered, really. I'm not sure if you'd like me mentioning this, but
I think you would.
He was actually in the Australian T20 team, but couldn't actually make the Stars final 11. So I think I was a shoulder to cry on many times with Clint when we were away. But mate, he was bleed Stars through and through. He beat us in the grand final, Thunder v the Stars, which he still tells me about, which is disappointing, but because I'm still not over that we lost. But no, he's a good human being and a good friend.
Were you playing when the Renegade Stars grand final?
No.
You just finished?
I'd been out for 2 years by then.
Where were you at the game? Where were you watching it?
I was actually at the game in a box watching it, and I was sitting with a couple of CV board members at the time.
Can you name them?
No.
Well, there you go.
Lydia Dowse, I was sitting with her.
Yep.
She's a wonderful person. And she said, what's going to happen here? Stars need 50 off 60. I said, percentage.
Were they 2 down when that happened?
I reckon 2 down, yeah. And I said, this is easy. And then Mal Smith, former Stars director, he said, I've got a feeling that he was sitting just in front. I've got a feeling something's going on here. I said, Mal, don't be silly. I've been around cricket for 15, 20 years, mate. It's a done deal. Well, wasn't I wrong? So lucky we're not allowed to gamble on cricket because I would have lost an absolute fortune. So.
I'm going to try and get this scorecard up because I remember, Benny, I'm not sure, do you remember watching it all?
Yeah, I remember I was actually at an AFLW game when that unfolded, but
nice.
Some of the highlights from that are...
So we were none for 93 chasing 145, and I remember being on SEN radio, and mate, when Richmond won their first flag, they'd won by 3/4 time. I had to wait till halfway through fourth quarter to actually go, we've got
Time
this.
for a drink now, yeah.
That's how negative I can be. But I actually went on the radio and I was actually saying, Clint Coope, Verity Maguire, everyone involved in the Stars camp, they're going to love this. This is a fantastic opportunity. And then Stoinis gets out. 1 run later, Pete Hanscom gets out. 5 runs later, Ben Dunk gets out. So Stoinis and Dunk were the in batters. And I'm thinking, we've got Maxi, there's Madison, there's Bravo. We're right to go. And then all of a sudden we've lost, what is it there? There's four wickets for 13 runs. And that was it. It was all over. And
what did they lose by?
13 runs, I think.
Runs, God.
Which was, again, it's still another over and half worth of batting. And how did you feel after that? Was it genuine disappointment? Because it was for me. Like, I wasn't playing, and there's times, I reckon, as a player, you can sort of go, I want him to win, but I'd prefer if I was playing, Like, how did you feel?
No, kick in the guts. I don't like losing. I don't do losing very well. I remember I was on such a high. I caught up with Steve Fleming, the coach, the night before because they just beat Hobart, who were almost undefeated the whole year. They beat Hobart down there and killed them. I thought, geez, they're the hottest ticket in town. They're flying here.
Yeah.
Caught up with him, glass of wine, mate. Congrats, great year. He said, "No, we've got this tomorrow." And I've just felt at ease. You know, when it's already happened. Yep, you're going to win, and you just expect it to win, and then it doesn't happen. I remember driving home that night, and I had my daughter next to me in the car, and she was trying to talk about the game, and it was just all become white noise, and I was just reliving the wicket after wicket after wicket, and it didn't sit nicely with me. And it goes back to what can you do, and you can't do anything. You're just watching it as a fan, so disappointing.
So do you still feel a connection to the Stars? Obviously, your role's now Cricket Victoria.
Yeah.
Are you still tied?
I'm impartial, so I try and help out both teams. I still take my kids to the Stars games, which is great. They're avid Stars fans, and to give my wife a night off. But no, I still love seeing both male and female teams go at it. The girls are going really well at the minute. They're third. Big game tomorrow against Hobart Hurricanes, so huge game. Big 3 games ahead of them. So, yeah, I'm still a Stars fan deep down.
Good to hear.
I think it's it helps you being involved in the role that you are, like the head of male cricket here at Cricket Victoria, because you obviously see people come and go. You're actually involved with, you know, a percentage of the squad as well. One of my questions, without going backwards too much, was when you did come back to coach, albeit it was 2 years post you playing, I think it was.
Yep.
You would have actually played with a few of the boys as well. Like, was there any awkwardness going from player/captain to coach?
Yeah, massively. And you had to break that ice very, very quickly. I remember I was captain and then I had a year off and then came back as an assistant sort of thing under Flem and Trent Woodhill and stuff. And Trent and Flem went to the IPL auction for the last game of the year, and John Hastings was the captain. And I think it was KP's last year. And the night before the game, so because I'm structured and a nerd, I end up doing all the planning out how Hobart play. And I said, Haste, I've got this bold strategy here. I want to use you as a pinch hitter because Hobart are so reliant on Clive Rose, Cameron Boyce, and the other spinner name escapes me, which allows them to hold back Archer and Tyron Mills at the end. So if I can get you to go out as pinch hit, smack one of those spins out of the stadium, that forces them to bring back the left arm or Jofra Archer. Mate, we're a chance to win this right at the end. That's our game plan. Mate, that's a great idea. However, I had to tell KP that he was going to drop him down from 3 to 5 and let Hasty go to 3. I was dreading it. Like, it was the worst. So trembling. Hey, KP, tough conversation here, mate. What about if you drop down to number 5 instead of number 3? He said, oh, thank goodness. I've been sick of batting number 3 for such a long time. And, you know, it's the relief. Happy birthday. Unfortunately, as it played out, Haster went out to bat at number 3, 4, 5, whatever it was. And he got 20 off about 6, 7 balls. And all he had to get through was one more ball of Mills, and then he had another spinner to face on. He late cut it to the keeper. We ended up winning the game, and at the end of that, Hasto said, yeah, it was my call putting myself in as a pinch hitter. He claimed all the credit. And I was like, yeah, you can have it, Hasto, that's fine, mate. But yeah, it was good fun.
That's so good. What a legend.
He's a great
We're going to have to find a way to get him from England. I don't know how we can do that. But
mate, make sure 2 hours, please.
Yeah, correct. And 5 pints of Guinness as well. Mate, you touched on the girls are going all right at the moment. Plenty of games to go. Couple of things. How do you think they're going to end up? And then obviously with the men, there seems to be so much pressure. Correct me if I'm wrong. The Stars are the last team now to actually not win a title. Yep. So there's only one left, and it's a matter of just a watch pot. And so can you touch on how do you think they're going to go as well? So you can start with the women.
Women, well, they're third at the moment on the table. They're playing some good cricket. Like, sign of a good team is they were 6 for 40 against the Brisbane Heat the other night, and they relied heavily on their overseas players to come out.
She batted beautifully, Marizanne.
Yeah, Andy Christie's done a really good job with that squad. They're playing with a lot of belief, which is it's good to see actually. Kimmy Garth up front with the ball also helps seaming in both ways and swinging the ball away from the right hander. So yeah, they're top 3 at the minute. They've got a Hurricanes, Renegades, Hurricanes. So big next 3 games, but I'm hoping that's going to be Stars Renegades grand final at the MCG.
But that's realistic as well, isn't it? I think sometimes you throw out some predictions that are more hopeful. Like, you know, you'd love to have a Stars Renegades every year, wouldn't you, from a Victorian perspective? But that is just a genuine opportunity, isn't it, with the women? Yeah.
They're playing a really good brand of cricket. They're lots of confidence. They're striking the ball well. Their overseas players are playing nicely. The keeper, Amy Jones, she's a star. They've got a really good group, and Sophie Day's bowling well as well. So, yeah, really well-balanced group, and I think they're well coached.
And then obviously from the boys' perspective as well, big season coming up. Any of the young Victorians that you've got an eye on?
Yeah, Tom Rogers, I think he's in a much better place than he was last year. He's fit, healthy, mentally fit. He's not tired. He came back from Ireland last year from playing club cricket over there. So Ireland or England? One of the two.
Ireland.
Yeah, and he probably came back a bit tired, but he's in a really good frame of mind. He's batting beautifully in the nets and in the second 11 and in the one-day matches for Victoria. So I expect him to have a really good season. Campbell Callaway's a genuine star. He's on the rise. He's learning about his game every day. He works extremely hard. So I think they're two players to watch. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about the Stars, and I think they might shock a few players. They're well coached. Pete Moores has done an amazing job. Ben Roy, a great batting coach, and the boy Clint Mackay, he's a wonderful human being.
We're nearly done, mate. We're mindful of taking a bit of your time. You've got a really serious, proper job here that you've got to go back to. I've always been watching in interest in waiting for Hilton Cartwright to explode. I see that whether it's, I don't know if it's his choice, the captain or the coach, always seems to change position on the batting order. Sometimes it's obviously how many overs left in the game and the situational. But where do you see Hilton's best place to bat? Because I really rate him as a player, particularly as a batter and a fielder. And I'm just waiting for him to one day just sort of take the game away and win a few more games for the Stars.
Yes. So Hilt's wonderful person, great team man, always puts the team first. Personally, when he first started, he was an opening batter, opening 1, 2, and 3, and he probably didn't have the success that he wanted to have at the top of the list. So another tough conversation where we dropped him down to the middle order, and we said, mate, the ball's not moving. You can just stand there, use your power, and just smack it out of the stadium. And he was a bit taken aback because I think he felt that I didn't rate him, but it was like, no, mate, you're just going to get more of an opportunity where the ball's not swinging around. You know where the ball is pretty much going to be every time, and you can just use your power. And it was down in Hobart, and I think he got about 25, 26 of about 9 balls, and we ended up winning. Andre Fletcher took a couple of unbelievable catches on the boundary for us to win.
Remember that?
We ended up having a drink, and the awkwardness at the end of a game is when a player's done well, but he doesn't really want to bat where he wants to bat.
They've got the shits with you.
Well, yeah, massively. So you got to break the ice, don't you? And sat down with a drink next to him. Hey, mate, how was that? He said, I still prefer to bat up the list, And I said, but you're so powerful, mate. And I think you can actually win more games of cricket than what we were predicting if you bat in the middle. You can control.
It's good honesty though from both sides, isn't it?
Yeah, mate. Hilton's one of the better human beings I've ever met in cricket. So he's just a ripper, and he's been a breath of fresh air for the Melbourne Stars, and I still think his best position is 4, 5, 6, batting in and around Maxwell and Stoinis. It's pretty exciting.
Last one from me. I'm not sure, Rowdy, if you've got any more for Huss, but 2 more. One, what was the song that I remember Zamson, particularly Seb Gotch, we'd come on the bus, and I mean, everyone used to know you as Huss or Bomb, which is brother of Mike.
Yep.
Now, but then all of a sudden they threw you another nickname.
Slur was my nickname evolved from you Hustler. So then it just, because cricketers aren't that bright, they try and shorten words. So Slur it became.
Easier to say.
And yeah, it is, isn't it? Say it 5 times fast. And then Jared Loffman, Zampa, and Seb Gotch basically got together and created this song from Usher. Yeah, yeah. And, oh, mate, that terrorised me. Every time I walked in the room, they played it.
That had the speaker, didn't
Yeah.
they? And like if they saw, like sometimes it'd be the hotel bus, so they'd have the speaker with them in the bus, and you could see Huss about to walk on. And sometimes, do you know what, you were sometimes the first on the bus, so they get the speaker out and they know exactly, they'd get on the phone and know what time it was on, and they'd fast track it. And it was like the song goes, yeah, yeah, and in the background it goes, hustler, hustler, like that. And every time Huss used to walk past, he'd go, hustler, hustler. And the first few times Huss would be like, yeah, whatever. And after a while, he's like, well, you guys shut up.
I was coaching first year, and we lost this game the night before, and had our video guy, Gurav, make up a video about all our learnings for the night before, and then how we want to play the next night and how do we rectify it. And unbeknownst to me, these pricks, they also had a video made up, and so I had it all loaded, ready to go. And
Did G do that video as well?
Possibly, I haven't found it. I had my video all ready to go with my laptop, bang, at the MCG in the Rath room, sort of thing, ready to go. Then Russ was our team manager. Then he pulled me out, and I like, it was just a random topic. Like, mate, it's got nothing to do with me. You handle that. Like, I handle this, you handle that. Stay in your lane, I'll stay in mine. Came back in and I see a few snickers, and like, I'm thinking, I'm getting more and more angry at the time. Like, if I was a race car, I was probably in the red. Like, right, this is what happened last night. Like, this is what we need to rectify. And here, if you can't understand, here's some visuals. Press play on the. It wasn't my laptop, funnily enough. Press play. I'm like, that's not my laptop. And then press play, and then all of a sudden, this video comes up of me fielding and batting and whatever with this song. Yeah, and just non-stop laughter. Luke Wright was amongst it. Oh God, they terrorised me. So the team meeting done.
What about Warney? I'm going to finish on Warney. Like, again, you've played with so many amazing cricketers and people in their own right, and I was fortunate enough to play with Warney as well. But we've all got different, I guess, perceptions and experiences with Warney. What was your time like with the great man?
Champion. Helped me out massively with batting, especially. Like, again, he was ahead of his time. Like, he'd come into the batting meetings and say, right, we need to hit 12 or 13 and over for the first 6 overs back then. And then we just get down to 9 and 10 and over. And then the last 6 overs, we got 15s again, you know, we score 210. We defend that. It's like, mate.
Easy.
Yeah, no worries. Like, who are we targeting here, sort of thing. So he was definitely ahead of his time. But the belief that he gave the group was just phenomenal. You'd walk out to bat thinking that you were Ricky Ponting sort of thing, or he'd play and you just walk a little bit taller sort of thing. He was just brilliant. But I do remember when he didn't want to bat against the Brisbane Heat, I think he wanted to declare. We were about 8 down and he sort of strolled up with some pads on. Being a 40-year-old, you don't really like fast bowling. And
No.
he wasn't having a bar of it, but mate, what a legend. He stars for life.
He's a legend, and so are you, mate. Thank you so much for
Pleasure.
giving up your time. Very much appreciated, and you'll always be a Stars legend. Appreciate you being part of the family, and thanks for your time today.
Cheers, Bob. Rowdy.
Thanks, us.